protein. Why do you have 250 grams of protein a day?
Why? I try to get like at least my body weight, because I weigh around 200, and I mean, I even get a little more, a little less. So it's around
200, you take 250 around your body weight. Do you know what your body fat is?
probably 20, 25.
So if it is about, let's just say 20, that means you're carrying about 40 pounds of fat, right?
Right.
Right. So you're really, your lean muscle is more like.
Is it per pound of lean muscle and not body weight?
I'm just putting this out there. So your fat isn't actually doing anything, right? It's not eating protein. It's
Right.
not contributing to your
Leverage.
exactly. Oh, yeah. So if 160 is really your lean muscle, that's actually the number that should matter more.
Right.
So it's one of the things I do when it comes to protein requirements is I want to know the body fat to see how much lean muscle you have. That's really what you base your protein intake on. So how did you come up with the number of 200? How did you come up with your body weight? 1 pound?
1
gram per pound? All right, where did you hear that?
You know, it's numerous people, it's just kind of.
It's out there, it's out there.
People say like 0.8 to 1.5.
Good. So if you look at a lot of the literature, you're actually right. However, it's per kilogram, not per pound. So most of the literature that they've done in studies shows that you're only going to need about 0.8 to 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. That's low. It's actually not much. The supplement industry wants you to think you need 40 grams of protein every 2 hours. You're going to waste away. What's protein used for?
When your body's like, when you're either starving, it'll break down the proteins, or like you're under intense exercise, it'll break it down.
Build muscle. Build muscle, yeah.
Build muscle.
If you're not getting enough, your body will break down some of its own muscle for protein. Amino acids are just smaller parts of protein. Chains of amino acids make up protein.
Why is it that like a ketogenic diet works so well? Like I ran a ketogenic diet when I weighed 200 about a year ago. I cut down to 160 and within like 16 weeks, I didn't watch my calorie intake, I just watched my carbs. And I was able to eat as much protein and fat. I was eating bacon, like whole packages of bacon, eggs. I can't say it was a great diet, but it worked. I was just wondering why it worked. If
Okay, we'll talk about it. Does anyone know what a ketogenic diet is or heard of it? Okay. So what that is it's a diet that doesn't have carbs in it, and your body is not going to burn carbs because you're not running on them. So it's actually going to break fat down into what they call a ketone. So how many calories?
ketones?
7. So when you're not having carbs and you're on a ketogenic diet, your body's going to take fat, it's going to break it down to a ketone. In the process of doing that, you lose 2 calories because it's inefficient. You then have 7 calories to burn for energy, which is more than carbs and protein, but it's still less than fat. That's why some people say when they drink, they don't think that it's bad. But actually, when your body metabolizes fat into a ketone, alcohol and a ketone are the same thing. So sometimes I tell people that are like big drinkers, it's like if you're doing shots of alcohol, it's like shots of butter. In the body, it's the same caloric amount that ultimately gets broken down. So a shot of alcohol, let's say there's 5 or 10 grams of alcohol in it. 1 tablespoon of fat has 14 grams. Let's just say a tablespoon of, let's just say a shot of alcohol might have 10. So calorically, right, when it comes out to calories, you're going to multiply it by 9, and you multiply this by 7. Well, actually, that ended up being 7 too. But so you get an idea; they're actually comparable. Getting back to your question. eating a lot of fat is an inefficient way to burn calories.
Can your body uses ketones kind of like it uses carbs?
It does, but it's actually different. So you're eating, we talked about insulin before, managing insulin. That's why the ketogenic diet is really good. The whole time you're on it, you're burning fat the whole time. It's not just around outside of the workout. If you're not having carbs, you're essentially going to be burning fat.
So it's basically less fat burning per minute, but more fat burning per day because you're not cycling off fat burning. Is that why, roughly?
Repeat that again.
So it's less fat burning each moment of the day. But since you're not cycling off of that fat burning because you're feeding carbs, more total time of fat burning. So when you sleep, you're burning fat. When you wake up, you're still burning fat. When you're eating lunch, you're still burning fat because you're not stopping.
That's what
fat
your body's
burning.
running off.
But per moment,
yes.
it's less.
It's actually the same.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's the same. You're right though. You're more time under fat burn.
And I usually also do a refeed day. Like I go the entire week without any carbs, and then I have like about 700 to 800 on the weekends.
Okay.
And
what's your reasoning for that?
well, more or less for a mental break because there's
It's actually, there's a good reason for it. So we talked about insulin again, insulin being anabolic, okay? When you're on a ketogenic diet, you're not having, your body's not secreting insulin. Therefore, there's not a lot of opportunity to be anabolic. So what happens is when you do those refeeds, you get a huge spike of insulin because you're consuming 800 grams of carbs. And what that's doing is that's going to take all those carbs, turn it to sugar, and it's going to suck it in, put it into your muscle cell, swell your muscles. How much weight did you gain?
I usually gain like it average from 4 to sometimes 8 pounds, but I'll be gone by Wednesday. I'll be back down actually below the weight I was before.
Okay.
So let's say I was at like 170, I'd probably go up to like 176.
And
Like
then
on Wednesday, I'd be
169.
like 169.
Yeah. So that diet, it's a more advanced diet. It's actually not a bad diet. You get that huge spike. When he does that, he's actually inducing growth, anabolism. He's making muscle cells grow. All right, let's talk about fats. Anybody have a favorite fat?
Macadamia nut oil.
There you go. All right. So you got saturated fats, right? We hear that in the media. Don't have saturated fats. That's what's in your arteries. That's what's clogging you up. You actually need saturated fat. Every cell of your body has some saturated fat in it. The problem is when you keep a saturated fat, what happens? You get it actually gets oxidized, and that's actually worse for you than a good fat. So you got saturated fat, you got mono, poly, please. Anybody name a saturated fat?
Coconut oil.
Awesome. Good choice. Another one is red palm. Red palm oil. Red palm. Anybody can name a mono? What's that? We got that. Jesus said. What's the effect? Essential fatty acid? Name one.
EPA.
You need all these fats. There's components in all these fats that your body needs. So fats to me, I'm a big fan of fats. All the diets I write usually are heavy in fats. And the main reason is that because these make all your hormones. And for the most part, hormones are going to dictate a lot about your health. performance, recovery, all that. It's also responsible, fats are responsible for nerve repair, cellular repair. Polys, sunflower oil, corn oil, heard of flax? Why do you take flax? What kind? Uncle Ale. So ALA, essential fatty acids are just that. You need them for life. Alpha-linoleic. So when you take flax, you're hoping this actually occurs. Your body will convert ALA to DHA. These are both in fish oil. This is like liquid gold found in you. This is everything that you hear about, heart studies, insulin sensitivity, all that good stuff. You're hoping this occurs. Flax becomes ALA and then it gets broken out of this. The only problem is that the body is really good at this, and some studies have shown it only about 10% gets converted. So people that just take flax oil is just not enough. You got to get some fish in your system. Now, does anyone know why we eat fish? Where did the fish get that from?
The plants they feed on, to the algae. And
Exactly. So if you're eating your fatty salmon, you're getting the good stuff out of that because of what it ate. And then what the smaller fish eat, and then ultimately it was algae at one point. So algae got it from the sun. And then it went down the food chain, up the food chain, and then you ate the fatty fish. This brings into the conversation grass-fed meat and grain-fed meat. So just like fish get their good stuff, the EPA and DHA, out of algae, grain-fed cows do not. But grass-fed eat grass, which also get it from the sun. This is abbreviation for omega-6s and 3s. There should be a ratio of 1-to-1, meaning in your diet you should consume a ratio of 1-to-1 of these. This doesn't occur most of the time. You're laughing. Most of the stuff we're eating, whether it's like packaged goods, breads, chips, crap, cookies, a lot of it's made with nasty fats. All those fats boost this omega-6 level up high, high, high. And we rarely ever get enough of this. So they're saying right now, they think this ratio sometimes gets whacked out where it could be, let's say, 40-to-1. The more out of whack this is, they say the unhealthier you are. So now, has anyone heard of the paleo diet? Right, paleo. So supposedly cavemen ate 1-to-1. That's what I was saying. So one other thing I want to allude to when I talk about fats is, this is a mess. Something called GLA. That's in orange seed oil and primrose. Now, this isn't in itself going to put 50 pounds on your bench by taking it. But this is all the small stuff that you do that builds up the longer and bigger stuff. So, how much fish oil do you take?
2 grams.
2 grams?
Well, I mean, it's not 2 grams of fish oil, it's 2 grams of EPA.
Caps or liquid?
Caps.
Why do you take caps?
Don't the taste.
Do the caps make you burp up?
I mean, they have lemon oil in them or something. So that
Is it?
helps.
Peed on you?
No, I freeze them too, so that helps too.
That's good. Most of the time, just a little tip, most of the time fish oil caps are rancid. They've been in a tractor, they've been in a warehouse. And the process of keeping them fresh isn't as good as with liquid. So liquid fish oil, a lot of times, you take a cap and you take a liquid, the caps repeat on you because the rancid, the liquid doesn't. So for everyone, there's like a magical ratio of fats that they should have, and that's gonna be different for everybody. You can actually find this out through blood work, which is a little extravagant, but you could. But what I would definitely impress upon you is that you wanna have fats from each of these groups. This is what's gonna make your heart beat, this is what's gonna repair your cells. Any questions on this?
So you want to have, throughout your day, your meal, you want to have lots of different types of fat, not just one type of fat.
Exactly. And I'm sure maybe somebody's having two kinds in here. Okay.
Do you have a preference on your fish oils, like cod liver oil, krill oil? That is,
I like Carlson fish oil, because you get lemon or orange flavor. It's a good quality brand. There's one cap out there that's actually pretty good. It's called New Chapter. It's the only one I recommend.
Any idea how much an athlete would be losing out performance-wise by not taking in that many fats, the right amount of fats?
I don't, but I can tell you that if they took in, even if they probably just took in this group of fats, they'd probably start feeling better, performing better.
So, the majority of like athletes are, becoming like college students and stuff like that. Would you say it's expensive to eat a diet like this?
It is, unfortunately. I haven't come up with like a budget way to do it, but you're right, there should be, I should come up with something that could be like the kind of cheap and easy way to get it all in.
Yeah, well, not necessarily. There's definitely more that are more important than others.
I don't believe so. I mean, the polys you're gonna see everywhere. Just because they're essential fatty acids doesn't mean they're any more important than the other ones, just the fact that you can't make them.
Like your avocados aren't cheap. Like avocado oil, macadamia nut oil, it's all really expensive.
They're all really expensive stuff, exactly. Since we're talking about fats, let's talk about cooking with fats. Does anybody know what smoke point is? Smoke point oil? Right, so a lot of people, let's say even old school, you're cooking with like corn oil or canola or something. And then maybe you're like, hey, I want to get healthy, I'm going to start cooking with olive oil. But the problem is the smoke point of olive oil is super low. So when it comes to fats,